And we are live. We're just going to give it a few minutes to get started. Just stand by. It's a few seconds.
Speaker
Get this thing started.
And
we have some wonderful guests in store for you tonight. Bedtime stories presented by Red.
Hello. And
Sid Rose. That's me.
Sid Rose. Sid Rose. NYC. Wood.
So welcome. We have some wonderful guests with us here tonight that I'm super excited to have.
I know who these people are. I've never heard of them before. Ever. Don't know them.
Liza Minnelli. No, you've heard of these guys. She knows them. She loves them.
She
they
does.
Love her back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are very proud and very excited to present to you tonight DJ Kervyn Mark. Kervyn, say hello to the people.
Hello, everybody. Wait a minute, my thing says Bernie Smart. I gotta fix that. That's my monkey.
You can change it. All you gotta do is double click your name, and you can change that.
Double click.
And fancy world-renowned dancer, Mr. Caleaf. I don't know if he wants me to say his last name because you know.
But it is on the flyer.
Madonna is Cher. Caleaf Stellars.
Hello, ladies. How are you? How's everybody doing?
She called you a fabulous dancer. How do you feel about that?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome so very much.
All right. So, welcome to Bedtime Stories. Thank you both so much for being here with us. Like, it's really a super pleasure to have you here. I get so excited for each of these because each one is special in its own way. And I think that this one is going to be one that I'll be equally pleased about, you know?
Oh, people, if you only heard the conversations going on before we hit record.
Oh, boy.
We won't get back to that. We won't get back to that. That's not a thing. So how's everybody doing? How you guys doing?
Well, me, I'm excited. I'm good, first of all, and I'm excited. I'm really, really happy to be doing this because I got mad shit to say. So it's gonna be fun.
Okay.
I like that a lot.
And Caleaf, how you doing?
I don't know how to answer that question. I never know how to answer that question.
Let me tell you.
Especially after these last 5 months. But I can just say I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
I feel like your sigh, that just encompassed my whole mood right now. So you are not alone. Strange days for us all.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Should I say? Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I was doing this one today. Wait, this is the new shit. Only girls can do it though, because unless, or whatever. But
oh, here we go.
What I was doing today was this. I felt real demure, but at the same time protected against you. Back the fuck up.
Okay.
Back the fuck up.
Okay.
Now you see David Hill would disagree with you on that right now.
You're right. I think you're right. It's not protected at all.
Right? Oh boy.
Well, okay. So why don't we get started by why don't you we know who you are, but maybe some of these folks that are joining us don't know who you are. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you think we brought you here today? We can start with you, Kervyn, because I see you looking like, who am I?
Yeah, no problem. So, hi, I'm Kervyn Mark, DJ, been playing and been around the underground since as long as I can remember. So that would be since the late 70s for me. And I started out as in the scene as a dancer, going to different clubs. Even though I was playing some, I was really into going to clubs. And then somewhere about the mid-'80s, I got into playing and stuff. And, I consider myself a quote-unquote gatekeeper of the underground. I try to keep it real, try to keep everybody honest. That's what I'm about. So I think I was asked to do this because I think I've been around like so many different areas and cliques, and I've done different things, from music, from film, just many different things I've done in the underground, and been, like I said, around different quote unquote cliques in the underground. So I think I have that to offer and to bring a different insight maybe that everybody else hasn't brought.
Kervyn, you just out here using that forbidden word, clicks. But
I know, but it's true.
We'll get back to that.
You know it's true. You know it's true. So.
And Caleaf, why do you think that you are here? Why do you think we've invited you to be here?
And who is you?
Who is you?
My name is Caleaf Ramir Sellers.
Oh.
I'm born and raised here in Brooklyn, New York. I represent Dance Fusion, Mob Top Family. And I've been dancing, teaching, DJing, producing. I don't know, I just consider myself an artist. People label me as a dancer, but I'm an artist. And I've been trying to give all I can give to this culture for 30 years. I've been a club head since I was 17. I go back to when you had skydive. A lot of people don't know about skydive in the World Trade Center. They don't know about Chamberlain's. A lot of the youngins wasn't going to Red Parrot, Silver Shadow, or Bentleys. But guess what? I was. So, you know, this is, you know, my time in the game. And then from that, I utilize the dance to help me, you know, pass on and share the culture with the world. And so in regards to why you guys brought me, I think you brought me because I'm fabulous. No, I'm sorry. No, I think you brought me because we know each other. We've all partied together at one time or another, and maybe you feel that I may have something I could add on. That's why I think that's why I think you brought me. Aside from me being fabulous.
I'm glad you went back to that because I was really being fabulous. I accept that. I accept that. So, I guess.
So do you have a bedtime story that you have ready for us, or did you want us to prompt you with some questions? Because we always have questions ready. And then we also will take questions in the chat on IG if you want to ask some questions.
I have a story.
Okay,
you
go
got
for
a story.
it.
I mean, only if you want to hear it now, because I'm not going to share the story.
I'm nervous though, but I'm
the name of this show is Bedtime Stories. So
right. But this is one of those stories that, like, most of the time I would not be telling this story.
Children,
get out. Stories.
Get out. Parents,
there are people out there that are going to actually hear this story, and I'm going to be embarrassed. But you know what? So be it.
Oh, that's even better. Let's go.
Do I got enough space? I'm good? Okay. All right. It was maybe 2000 and I want to say 2002. Cynthia had a gathering at her house.
Oh my God.
From work. It was her birthday. I had worked all day. I went and picked up a bottle of Hennessy and met up with them, and I came to her house. So everybody's partying in the house. So again, I'm a little tired, but they're like, hey, you want a drink? I'm like, sure.
Typical Cynthia house shenanigans.
We all together, everyone in the room helped the Hennessy bottle go away. So I had the other one like, oh, there's another one. Not thinking about me being fatigued, and I already helped them polish one bottle of Hennessy. I sit down. They're playing Jill Scott. Slowly, surely. And they're like, I'm like, play it again, play it again, play it again, play it again. Now, the original plan was that we come there, we have the pre-drinks, and then we go to the club to celebrate her birthday. But I fell asleep Now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm knocked out. I feel Marge, God bless her dead. Marjorie tapped me. Caleaf, get up. I'm like, y'all ready to go? She's like, yeah, let's go. Come on. So she's like, go in the bathroom, wash your face so we can get ready to get out of here. You look all dusty. I was like, huh?
No.
So I go in the bathroom. And I look in the mirror. And I'm like, I see there's lipstick on my lips. I'm like, so I'm like, I don't see everything, mind you. So I'm like, I was like, I'm in the bathroom, they can hear me, the door's open, and I'm like, oh, y'all got me, good one. So I come out of the bathroom. I'm like, come on, let's go. So then Marge is like, I don't know, I think you need to go back in the bathroom and wash your face. So I can hit, I'm like, I get back in the bathroom, and I look closely, they have eyeliner, there's eyeliner on me. There's glitter all over my face. Yo, I lost it. I was like, what the hell you trying to do to me? I'm in there scrubbing my face. The glitter wouldn't come off. I came back out. Cynthia's there looking at me. She's laughing, but then she's trying to, because she sees I'm serious now, and she's seeing like, okay, the joke is over. I guess I look too funny because there's still glitter on my face, partial lipstick, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? What are you trying to do to me? Oh, man.
Okay, but I'm going to say that not all of that story is true. Okay. What happened was Marge woke you up, and you woke up and you was like, huh? Oh, it's time to go? And you had all this makeup on your face, and we immediately fell out. We immediately was like, wah! And then you went to the bathroom and got extra tight because of the glitter. Oh, yeah. And we heard about that glitter for about 10, 15 years.
I can guarantee you.
I didn't speak to them for about a week, Mark. I didn't speak to them for about a week off of that. Like, they would see me in a club. Hey, I was like, meow. You're not gonna talk to us, Kyle? I was like, hell no.
That's what we call tight.
It took me a while to like, but now, I mean, it's all right.
That sounds like my people.
So that's why I can share. That's one of my bedtime stories.
That's so funny. I did not expect you to share that story.
I got other ones, but that one, I got your back too, but I'm not even gonna put that story in there. But that's okay.
Okay, good. See, Caleaf, for those of you that don't know, I've known Caleaf since I was 3 years old. He's my oldest friend. He's the reason I was allowed to go to clubs, because my father would be like, you going out with who? All right, are Caleaf and Henry and I'm going? You gonna ride the train home with them? Okay. So that was the reason I was able to be a club head, was because I could ride the train home with Caleaf and Henry and Ramir and
yeah, we live far. We're like close to the last stop on the L train. For those of you who don't know, we're from Canarsie. A lot of people don't venture out to those parts of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Far.
Oh yeah.
Well, Kervyn Mark, you came. You're like, I'm excited. I got stories.
Yeah, I want to hear.
Let's go.
Let's see.
What did you tell us about?
Yeah, I'll tell you one. So back in high school, I was a hip hop kid. I was only into hip hop because I went to Brooklyn Tech, right?
Okay.
And there's 6,000 students at Brooklyn Tech, so it was a huge class, and half of them were for the Bronx, and this is the late 70s. So there was this one guy that used to come down, and he used to be selling flash tapes. And the big thing was flash tapes in those days were like $20 for a Grandmaster flash tape. And we're from Brooklyn, and at the time, we didn't know much about hip hop. We were still playing like Love Is the Message, To Be Real, but you know, they had it going on in the Bronx. So he would bring these tapes, and then I got into hip hop, and then I got down with this crew from around my way. Caleaf, I'm from East New York, so all right, so I'm from like around Cypress projects and stuff like that.
Right. All right.
So I was down with this crew, and I was a rapper. I was a rapper. I used to rock the mic. Had my DJ. I was only like 15, 16. Our DJ was like 13 years old. He was dope and all that kind of stuff. And we used to be battling for equipment in the projects and all that stuff. And there was, in high school, there was this one, I had a classmate who he wanted to be a rapper too. So I brought him down, and I don't know if you all know him, but that was Tony Moran of the Latin Rascals, right? Wow. So Tony and myself, we were this crew. I was Money Mike. They called me Money Mike because my family had money. So they were like, oh, he's Money Mike. and Tony was, he was Tony T. So the short of it was that, unfortunately, my crew, half of them were on the wrong side of the law, and were getting like, in mad trouble, and were getting picked off one by one and ended up going to jail. So our crew dissolved. And Tony, though, was like really, really getting into like music, and he decided like he was gonna work at this record store. So he was working at Downtown Records, and we both graduated from high school, and I lost contact with this dude. So because his father was like, nah, you don't need to be hanging out with those guys. They're not doing anything with their lives. I was doing something with my life, but the rest of the guys weren't doing nothing. They were just like, they were messing up. So I ended up going to Brooklyn College, and then he went to City College, right? So while he was at City College and working at the record store, he met Albert Cabrera, and Albert Cabrera taught him how to do edits. And they started calling themselves the Latin Rascals. And they were doing stuff for KTU. Well, no, they're not yet. So they were trying to get on, they were doing the edits, and Carlos de Jesus from the video show, Video Hotbox.
Hot Tracks?
Yeah. Hot Tracks, thank you. Hot Tracks. So he came on, he came in the store, and he heard these edits, and he heard their mixes, and he was like, hey, would you guys like to be on KTU? Right? And they were like, of course. But the bottom line was, he was just giving them the runaround. He wasn't even, they were trying to get on, and he was giving them the runaround. So one day, Tony was walking across campus at City College, and he was wearing shell top Adidas and all of that. And there was a stare down between him and some dudes, and the dudes jumped him and stabbed him. Ooh.
Damn it.
Okay, he got stabbed, ended up in the hospital, of course, all of that, almost lost his life. And so Carlos de Jesus went to the store. He didn't know anything. He went to the store, and he was talking to Albert, and Albert was like, yo, you know, Tony got stabbed, and he almost died. And from that, Carlos felt bad. He felt really bad about it, and he put them on. And that's how they ended up getting on the radio. And the rest is history for them. Now, all of this is happening, and I don't know. I don't know anything about Tony. I don't know anything about that. So one day I was coming home from the garage, right? And I had my radio pumping in the car, and then it was the Kiss Master Mix, 98.7 Kiss. And then I'm listening, and I'm hearing this mix, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I hear Tony Moran, and I'm like, nah, there ain't no Tony, get out of here. So they say it like 2 or 3 times, and I said, you know what? I haven't spoken to this guy in like 2 years. Let me give him a call. 2 years I haven't spoken to him. And I gave him a call, and I was like, yo, Tony, what's that? You know, I was just in the Kiss, what's that? He was like, yeah, Kerv, it's a long story. You know, you won't believe what happened, but yeah, that's me on the radio. So all the time when he was doing KTU, I never heard it, but when he got to Kiss, I heard it. And from that meeting, for me reconnecting with Tony, Tony got me really into club. That's how it really started. He's the one who really got me into like, because I was just, like I said, I was only doing hip hop, you know? I was like into the guys who played at the Roxy, like Jazzy J and you know, Bonds International, doing like Planet Rock, all that kind of stuff. I was into that. But Tony's the one who got me into the club thing. And it wasn't even like the garage stuff. It was more like freestyle. So I was really into freestyle. This black guy's into freestyle. So that's how, you know, I'm going to cut it there because there's a lot more to talk about after that. But that's, that's how that started with me in the whole, okay, I'm going to be a club DJ now. That was one of the beginnings.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah. And the fact that you say club, because some of the not older heads, but people who have been, well, older heads, people who have been around longer, realized at first it was called club, and then it turned into house. And some people
I mean,
differentiate the two, and which is,
I mean, they have to, because you know, whether they want to acknowledge it or not, we created the culture here in New York. Okay, bottom line, club culture was created by us. Chicago could say whatever they want. They weren't doing what we were doing with the law, you know, back in 1970. They weren't doing that. We were doing that. But when the 808 drum machine came out, when that rolling 808 came out, and those cats in Chicago got their hands on it and started doing stuff with it, and they were playing music that was being played at the warehouse, that's where all that stuff came from in terms of the term house music. But before that, we only knew it as club music. And, you know, you listen to like Boyd Jarvis and those guys, Boyd was doing the same thing. It's just that we didn't call it house. We just called it club music, you know? Paul Simpson, all those cats.
That's why I'm a club head.
Right, that's why we are club heads. And not...
That's why we're club heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got a quick question for each of you. Someone named Julia BT wants to know, what is your most memorable club or club experience? Caleaf, you answer that question.
Well, I have two. One is the first time that I went to Union Square. Union Square was a hip hop club that was basically open. You could be like 17, I think was the youngest that they allowed you to go into it. I don't even remember people asking me for ID back then. Like, to get into Union Square. But I saw Rakim and Eric B perform. And that's like one moment that'll never leave my head. Like, just to see him check out my melody. Check. That was like, oh, and everybody was like, it was a lot of violence that went on that night. Okay, let's just keep it real. A lot of people got thrown out of the club, chains got snatched, all of that. But everybody waited till he got on the stage, and when he performed, I came in the door, said it, everybody was like, oh. So for me, that was one. I was fortunate, and I've told this a bunch of times. I used to hang out with this guy. We called him Club Bud. His name was Buddy Rivas. He was a freak. He like used to go to the garage all the time, and the only thing he wanted to talk about with us, even though we were too young to go, 17, he waited till I turned 18, and he was like, yo, when you turn 18, I'm gonna bring you with me. You gonna come with me. You gotta come. So every time I asked my family for money, I would ask my mom, my stepfather, they'd be like, I'm not giving you no goddamn $20. $20 to go to club. I don't got that. I work hard for my money. How you gonna get in there anyway? I'm like, he's a member. He's a member. I'm gonna be his guest. He's gonna bring me. Please, I wanna go. I heard so much about this club. I wanna go. So finally, she let me go. She gave me the money. I had enough money to go. So now I'm with Buddy. We go to the garage, and when we walk in, he shows us his membership card. This is my guest. So now we walking up the long path right before we go in. So here's the thing that got me. There was lockers in there, bro. There was lockers in there, bro. Brothers was in there like they was about to go to work. So I'm like, at that time I was clubbing, right? I was going out. Like I told you the places I was going. So I wasn't accustomed to going into some place and seeing lockers. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? And people like changing and getting ready. Heads are stretching out, you know what I mean? Like getting a stretch on. I'm like, so I played sports in high school. So I'm thinking to myself, damn, what's going on? Like this is, you know, Bud always tell me about the music, the performances. Larry, he would never stop talking about Larry. Larry this, Larry that. He didn't say Larry Levan. He didn't have to. It's like he knew Larry personally. Crazy thing is that years later, I actually got to know Larry when he was DJing at The Choice. Because when he was DJing at The Choice all the time, you could kind of get closer to people and say hello. And especially if you're there all night, he eventually would talk to you. You know what I mean? So, and he was a cool brother. May he rest in peace. But anyway, I walk around. Like I said, I thought I could dance, right? So now I get in the club and I find myself sitting down. So my boy, he wasn't really into like too much dance. He just do his little two-step, and he jammed that come on. Meanwhile, behind him, it was like the movie Fame. I wanna live. Heads is going through girls' legs. Girls is like on top. People are like moving around like snakes without touching. Now, okay, there's been this whole misconception, right, with a lot of people from my generation when they refer to that type of dancing, either as freestyle or as lofting, right? Because there's been a debate, right, with some of the elders like Bravo. He said he corrected elder like Louis Keys saying that, oh, it's not lofting. So I said, I'll leave it for the older guys to decide, but I'll explain what I saw. What I saw was people moving around like snakes, but not actually touching and showing a lot of skill. And I didn't realize, I was intimidated because my boy pointed out, yo, you've been sitting down there for like 2 hours. When you gonna get up and dance? Come on, man, get up, come on. You don't like the music? I was like, I love the music, but I'm so intimidated right now. So I stayed, I went, got me some coffee, because I just want to take you there with me. So I'm like, damn, they got coffee in here. This keeps you going. If you're tired, you just go get more coffee. Nobody's going to stop you. Oh, and they got fruit. Oh, they're bringing out more fruit. Oh, this is cool. There's a movie theater over here? There's a movie theater over here. So I'm looking at a movie theater, but then I realize no one is really watching a movie. Heads is in there like this. Like I see heads kind of like nodded out. So I was like, let me go up to the roof. So I go up to the roof because I was like, I just needed a little break because the music was, I'm going to tell you, people always talk about sound systems. This club sound system. I've been in ministry of sound. You name the club, I've probably been there in my travels, like where people's like, this system is better than such and such. I haven't heard a system like I heard in that club.
Nowhere.
And I know people like, but this place, I'm like, yeah, but I can't hear. But the way Larry was working it, I could hear everything, and I left with my hearing intact. You go up on the roof, I fell asleep on the roof for like 2 hours. I got up, I was like, it's daylight now.
Do I have makeup on my face?
It's still going. The party is still going. I guess for some people, it just started. When I came downstairs, there's even more people in the club. And I was like, oh, so this is what Bud is talking about. We left like around 11 because he knew that my mom would flip because I told her how long the club stayed open to. But, you know, I came in, I got home around like 12:30, almost 1 the next day. What the hell was you doing in there?
I was waiting for that voice.
I tried to explain the experience. I just tried to, you know, take her there. And then she kind of like calmed down.
Did she appreciate it?
She did. She did. She did. And she was also one that kind of encouraged me after that to like keep going, because she saw that was something that, because you know, I was a hyper kid growing up. So she felt like me going to dance, at least he ain't gonna get no trouble, because he can't sit still. He's always moving. So I took that energy and you know, channeled it into dancing, into my art. You know what I mean? But yeah, that club for me, that one, Union Square, those are two memorable moments that will stick with me for as long as I live. There's other places, other clubs, in respect to them all, but there will be only one garage. That's why they call it the G, in respect.
I like it. Just a little FYI for you, Rakim, I describe as the only short man I'm ever going to love. And that's why I appreciate all of it. I got to meet Rakim last year and I was like fanning out. So that, but enough about me.
Respect to the
Kervyn, Mark,
Yeah.
your most memorable club experience. Can you even pick one?
Well, yeah, that too. So Caleaf, he definitely spoke on the garage, and there's one night I specifically remember at the garage, and he described the garage to a T, without question. It was like, there was a point where I think I was at the garage like every weekend for like a year and a half. I was going every weekend to the garage. It was like I had to be there. So there was one time I went. I was up. I got up early that Friday morning. I worked. At that time, I was working at Blue Cross Blue Shield. I had class. I went to class that night, and then I went to the club. And I was tired. I was really tired. And that's the night that Marshall Jefferson was going to perform. And by that time, the house music anthem was like it. So you knew the club was going to be packed, super packed, like standing room only. And sure enough, like the way it would go is, you know, it would be partying. Because I was one of those who went for the time it opened. I would be like waiting to get in at 12 o'clock. I was there. Like, I'm there early, go in, they got the blue lights, they got the fog all over the place. I was like that. I was there early. I was doing the stretching, all of that kind of stuff. Just like Caleaf said, I was doing all of that. In those days, I used to be wearing my my ninja outfits and my Bruce Lee outfits and all that stuff. You know, you would wear your flats and all of that kind of stuff on the floor. Yes. Your Chinese slippers. I was wearing that. Yes, I was.
You're kind of gonna come back to Chinese slippers.
I love Chinese slippers. Okay, I'm done.
I loved them because it was perfect. So I would have all of that.
Right amount of pride. You'll bust your ass if you know what you're doing.
Your feet would be killing you by the time you're going home, especially if it was winter time. But it was all good, you know. So, the party would be going, like I said, and usually, like you know, the party would have peaks and valleys. And during this particular night, the big song was "I Like You" by Phyllis Nelson.
I like you.
Yes.
And as corny as people think about it now, that song was huge at the garage. That was a peak song. So the confetti, all the explosion, the lights, everything would be going. So they would do that, and then they would, before the performance, they would start to bring it down a little bit and play songs like Evolution on that system. And Caleaf is right. The second story, we'll talk about the sound system. But that sound system, certain songs you would like die to hear on that sound system, all right? So it was really, really packed. Like it was so packed that you couldn't move. Literally, like, okay, it's packed, you're in your spot, the performance is gonna be there, you can't go to the bathroom, you're just gonna have to wait it out. So Marshall Jefferson, it was Marshall Jefferson, and he brought Byron Stingley, who nobody knew about. Byron Stingley came to perform, and they were doing this song called "The Rain Dance." corny ass song. Corny. It was like the guy be up there doing this rain dance or whatever, and the crowd was like, "What?" I was like, "What the hell is that? Yo, we here to hear, you know, gotta have house. We don't want to see all this nonsense." But I remember I told you I was really tired. So at one point, this is no lie, I fell asleep standing up for like, I'm gonna say maybe 30 minutes.
Wow.
And I never hit the floor because it was that packed. It was like, until somebody was like, yo man, get up, man, get up. I was like,
you're leaning on me.
Yo, did I miss anything? Did I miss anything? It was so I finally got up and you know, Marshall Jefferson did the thing or whatever. So that was one night. The other night, as you can tell, it's about the garage. I mean, the other things, but this is the other night. And this is when I knew, I was like, yo, this is incredible to me. So it was a night that they actually played Walk This Way, Run DMC, Aerosmith. Okay.
All right.
Let me say, I have never experienced anything like that in any club, ever. So my friend and myself, we're by the speaker, one of the speakers, and the song comes on. And I just remember saying like, wait a minute, no, they're not playing that they're not playing hip hop in the club, because, you know, you just never expected to hear hip hop, right? And it comes on. And I just remember like, I have never heard this song like that. It was, we were just like, my head is in the speaker. Okay? It's in the speaker. And I'm just like, I'm looking at it, then I come out, look at my friend, he's like, yeah! And it was just unbelievable. And like Caleaf said, even with all of me putting my head in that speaker, I still was able to leave the club with my hearing intact. And because that song is loud, that's a loud record, because you're talking about it's Aerosmith, it's the whole group, it's rock with hip hop. But that night, I was convinced. I was like, that sound system is the best system I have ever experienced, ever. And like you said, you know, Larry, the way, and you know, during a certain time, Larry, it wasn't only about Larry. They had other guys who were playing in there too. You know, you had like I was there the night Morales played. I was there one night when Francois played. I heard a lot of Joey Llanos. I heard a lot of David DePino. That's why they're my friends right now. But those two nights at the garage really, really stand out. The one where I fell asleep, standing up, and never hit the floor. I still don't believe that. I can't believe that happened. And the other one, like I said, was hearing that song. And the funny thing, I told David DePino about that night, and he remembers it vividly. He's like, yeah, he said that was a risk we took, and he said the crowd just went crazy over that record.
Nice.
So those are two.
That was awesome.
It
That
was.
made me really happy. Oh my goodness. I can imagine sleeping standing up, but not lasting like 30 minutes.
I never hit the floor. I should have been stomped, but it was like.
That's awesome. I have a question for Caleaf from our brother Silky Smooth Jones.
This is a setup.
His question was, there he goes right there. Asking from the peanut gallery. Anyway.
That's what friends are for, huh?
But he asked, what if you have ever, like, what was your, damn it, I gotta scroll back. It's a damn shame. He said, oh damn, it's not even in my feed anymore. Silky, that sucks. it said something to the effect of like, is there a person that you have admired as a dancer that you have lost to, or that you felt like you battled in a club environment and lost them to them in a social setting? It was something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but I want to know that anyway.
Every time you went out, that you was like this
one. My biggest competitor is my best friend, and that's Link. Link has always been my best friend and my biggest competitor, and also
your biggest critic.
Yeah, the biggest critic at the same time. So now we often joke about back in the days, because we both were in 2 different crews in Brookline in the same project, but we always, went against each other somehow, some way. And he always says to everyone, like, yeah, I always burnt you, man. Your crew wasn't that good. I don't even know how you made it this far. So. But I mean, in regards to like, I guess having a nemesis, or I mean, I don't know. Maybe they know, because I don't know, because like a lot of us, we feel like I'm like 70 and 0. You know what I mean? But a lot of us back in the day, we didn't really battle each other. That was a thing. Like it was more or less. And I tell a lot of the young people now, even though they've seen us enter contests in the present day, that back in the day, it was more like dancing with someone got you hype. And if they dance better than you that night, hey, so be it. That was your night. But maybe the next day or the next week, it'll be my night. And that's what we got off on. Yo, man, you blacked out, man. Right. That's the thing that I got joy from. My phone is recording. I don't know what's up with my phone. It's starting to record everything I say. So I feel like someone bigger is watching. Or
you know what you did.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I just started seeing what I was saying to you guys come across the screen on my phone. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I just had to tap the screen. I don't know who's writing this all down.
Well, I have.
I'm like, what the hell is going on with my phone? I'm just looking. I'm seeing like paragraphs and shit running by. But anyway, so I don't know, honestly. Maybe they know. And if they want to call in and ask a question like, yo, you don't remember that time I smoked you? Come and say it. I'm right here. I don't know.
Cynthia, we got to work on a call in.
We do have to work. We can get a call in, actually. We can get a call in.
All right, well.
He asked me something. He said, do I remember the first time me and Link went at it? No, actually not really. But I just remember us like when that song came out, dollar bill, y'all. Dollar bill, y'all. Dollar bill, y'all. And then Heads was like, yo, you don't know the dance that goes to this? And I'm like, what? And they're like, and Heads had to step down with it, like the hands. And I was like, show me again? They only had to show you like 2 times. See, now we teach class. So it's funny that you would see a new dance and someone would show you twice. It goes like this. You add your head to it, and then you bop from side to side, and you would kind of look at that and be like, do it again. Next thing you know, you in there.
I think I can. I think I can.
So, yeah, I remember stuff like that, you know.
Well, Caleaf, I have a question for you, and it is from someone named Will Milton.
I know Will.
I know you do. I've heard of him. I might have met him on occasion.
I know Will Milton. We all know Will Milton. Hi, Will Milton.
Will Milton says, what's up? He wants you to know. He says, he literally says, dance fusion for life.
For Lord.
And he says it was an honor to be a DJ for the crew. And his question was, do you remember Tall Damien and Mike?
Tall Damien and Mike. They sound really familiar. Are they from Queens?
No, look, we look. That was the question.
Not a question and answer
scenario.
This is not.
We haven't gotten to the calling part.
Oh, okay. Well, yes. Well, I remember them. Did they smoke me in the club? That's what I'm saying.
I have a question for Kervyn.
All right.
Kervyn, I know that you've worked with so many people and had lots of, things happen in your career and in your life in the club and New York City nightlife. And is there a dream person that you would or could work with? Is there like, if there's a dream person that like exists, dead or alive, who would that be?
Okay, so this is an interesting question because, like you said, in everything that I've done, it's a surprise that it hasn't happened, because actually this particular person is the one who really got me out there in the underground scene as a DJ, like got me blown up. Like people really didn't know, but he stepped aside and he was the one who pushed me forward. Like, you're gonna play at this party for these hundreds and hundreds of people. And I remember the night that he told me that was gonna happen, like I cried. I literally cried because I had waited a long time for that. So yeah, that person is actually Joe Clausel.
Oh.
Wow.
Joe, the story goes that I had known Joe for a long time. And in fact, Joe was the one, he invited me to the very first Body and Soul that he did. It was a Larry Levan birthday party or something like that. And he invited me. It was only like about 250 of us. It was him, Francois, Danny. And from then we knew that the party had possibilities. They went through their struggles in the beginning, but we knew it had their possibilities. And the thing that was happening at Body and Soul was they were putting on DJs. So cats were getting a chance to play. Like, if this one would leave, let's just say Danny couldn't make it, they always had to have 3 DJs. That was the rule. That was Francois' vision. You must have 3 DJs. So if somebody left, they would invite somebody else to play. So like Kim Lightfoot would play, Basil would play, Mansky would play. They would have all these guys playing. And I would be like, yo, man, honestly, I need to be playing. And I would be in Joe's ear like, yo, man, I need to be playing. And Joe was like, yeah, you need to be playing. So I thought he was full of shit because he's like, yeah, man, you need to be playing, You need to be playing, Kerv. You need to be playing. And I was like, oh, okay, he's just gassing me. I'm not falling for this shit. And then all of a sudden, just one night, I got this phone call, and Joe said, yo, man, I'm going to be going away, and I want you to play in my place. And like I said, I cried. I couldn't believe it. I was like, yo, this is it. This is it. This is finally it, Because even though I was playing, I played at many clubs. This was like, at that time, let me put it to you this way. So you have the garage, you have the Choice, you have the Loft, you have the Shelter, right? You have Sound Factory Bar. So those are the major parties that I look at down the road. And here comes Body and Soul, and now I'm going to get to play a Body and Soul. So it was a huge thing. But the funny thing is that even though I got to play a Body and Soul 4 times, right? And even though I've known Joe all of these years, and even though we're really close, Joe and myself have never shared the stage together. Never. And if there's him and there's somebody else too. I'm kind of resigned that one ain't gonna happen, and that's cool because this person is like my idol. So I'm not gonna call his name, but he's my idol. The person that if Red could figure it out, but there's somebody he's my idol. This guy is like, if everything that I do as a DJ is because of this particular man, okay? And he's my idol. And the chances of us playing together is just never gonna happen. And I'm cool with that. I'm okay with that. But the thing with Joe, that I would really, really love for that to happen. Because like I said, you know, it's that kinship and what he did for me. You know, I just would just love to share it one time.
Nice.
Have to take a breath after that.
Maybe that's a wish for like a red birthday party. Something.
Yeah, and I say don't count anybody. Don't count yourself out of anything. You just don't know what's going to happen.
That's true.
I have a question for both Caleaf and Kervyn from our very good friend Be Polite, who was our guest here last time here on Bedtime Stories. He has a question for both of you. Both of you were in the documentary Maestro. What is your perspective on it all these years later?
Caleaf, you go first on this one, please.
Thank you, brother. I think I'll go first. let me clear my throat. What my whistle? In regards to Maestro, I don't know. At that time, I had already done a couple of documentaries, so it was kind of like I wanted to stay busy, and basically they were telling us that we were going to have a different, they kind of sold us on something that didn't actually take place. It just turned into us just having a session. And actually they were supposed to interview us to hear about our interpretation of what we're dealing with. But the only thing it turned into was just a session where we're just dancing. And I guess the interviews that they took with us, they didn't even really bother to use it. So that was my take. Thank you for having me in the documentary. There's footage of me that kind of helped me get work from that, because that just becomes a part of your reel. But as far as like things that we you know, like the questions and stuff that they asked, I'm not in it. It's just dancing.
And Kervyn, I'm interested in your answer to that.
Okay, so yeah, this is gonna be that's a great question. Because as you know, I'm the associate producer and the historian for the film. And what a lot of people don't, well, they found out a little bit about it last week because they had that showing last week and they interviewed me about it, is that I actually, the producer himself, Joe and myself, we started it together. This is a project that we started together in my basement. And, you know, but he had the zeal to really want to make it happen. I feel what Caleaf is saying. So I'm going to say two things about it. One is, it was really difficult to do this film. People have no clue how hard it was to do that film, because there was no budget, and I mean literally no budget, none. We had nothing.
I know we asked. We asked. We asked, bro. We asked.
Right. So we're gonna check out
and Jamal and Joselle were making promises to everybody just to get the film done, which was wrong. They were doing that, and I know Caleaf knows what I'm talking about. They were promising the world to a lot of people, and I think that they thought they could deliver, but it wasn't realistic that they could deliver. So why I say it was really hard to make this film. To do a film now, it's easy. I could take my phone and do a film, just like that.
Just like that.
But back then, you had to hustle to get the camera. Think about that. You got to hustle to get the camera. You got to hustle to get everybody together. To get the dancers together was not easy, bro. It was like, okay,
No cell phones, but you have to call them.
Yep, it's not easy. And not only that session, the session that we did at Vinyl with the older cats like Archie and those guys, that was like not easy. And then to actually process the film in terms of the editing, we used to have to sneak into a studio on 42nd Street, sneak in and do it when nobody was watching. We had no permission to be in there, and we were doing the editing for the film. So everything we did was like unauthorized, totally gangster. There was nothing about that. So from that perspective, you know, do I wish we could have done a lot more? Hell yeah, I do. But what I will say finally is this, is that as it has stood the test of time now, the importance of that film, the fact that there's certain people in that film that you will never ever get to hear their voices again. Otherwise, like Mancuso, like Francis Grasso, like David Lozado, like Shermako. I mean, it's quite a few cats in there who were the originators of the club scene as we know it worldwide, and you're just not gonna, just no other place that has them documented. I mean, the fact that you have David Mancuso even talking on the camera was like, because David barely talks to you at his club, and you got him talking to you on the camera.
I'm curious, you don't have that old B footage or the stuff that edits? You can't re-release something? That would be dope.
Well, okay, so the DVD actually does, if you can get it. The DVD, yeah, the DVD is hard to get. So, and that's a whole mess. I don't want to get into that, but
right, but that's where you can find something more Caleaf than this.
No, I was looking at the puppet like there was like, go.
So I got to do this with my dress.
Look, I mean that particular scene at Demerara's,
yeah, that became like like a thing. Like people around the world are like, yo, I saw you guys. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
New York is amazing.
Caleaf, Icho, Shannon. I mean, yo, they were just like, they nailed it. Nailed it. That scene is just beautiful to watch. You know, and it's interesting about that scene. What people don't know, because the music that was used was "I'm Gonna Love You" by DJ Rosso. I actually, what's weird is I actually mixed two records together, back to back. So if you listen to the record, it doesn't sound like the original. I actually just did that, and they just took it, and that's how it went down.
Like if somebody Shazams it, they're not gonna find it.
No, they ain't gonna find that. Sorry.
Nice.
You know, but I'm really, really. I used to be really like torn about it, about, you know, how I should feel about the film. And now especially as I just watched it recently, I'm just like, it's kind of amazing that it happened, because the whole point of doing the film was that nobody was telling the story. You know, nobody was doing it. It was like, you know, we were just talking one day in the basement, we're like, wait a minute, has anyone done a film like talking about the garage? Has anyone done a film and it was like, it wasn't there. So we were like, well, we got to do it. So I'm really proud that we did that.
Awesome. I have a question, which is from the IG handle Nerdish Tendencies. That is about the sound system in the garage. They heard that both of you said that the sound system in the garage was like incomparable, like could not be compared to from any other sound system. But they wanted to know, like, what do you think it was that other clubs could have done to step up their sound systems to make it better, or what do you think was missing in the equation?
I was looking at the feed and I saw some people name some clubs here in New York City. They named the Tunnel. No. No. Sound Factory. No. Sound Factory had a good sound now. Don't get me wrong, but it did not remind me of the garage. It did not. It did not. I had to be honest with myself.
Right.
So, Ministry of Sound in London, they were raving when I went to London, like, oh, mate, you gotta come in here, Ministry of Sound, mate. You haven't heard anything, bruv. You haven't heard anything like this, bruv. And I went there and I was like, no, I can't hear. Right now, I can't hear. I don't know. What, huh? What you say? What? Back room. I guess they equated, like, we're going to make you deaf with good sound. And I'm like, no. So for me, it was the balance between the highs, the mids, and the lows. This is very important. And then the person who's running the ship, the captain of the ship, whoever's on the ones and twos, Larry knew how to work that system. And he knew how to turn it up and make, you felt that, you know what I mean? And he knew how to pull it down. And then, like, I wanted to add on to what you said. This is something a lot of people don't talk about and, you know, this happened in the garage, but I haven't seen it happen in any other club. When people didn't necessarily vibe with whatever he was playing, I saw people just sit down. Whatever they were dancing at, they just sat down on the floor and waited till he got them up. I've been to many clubs. I've never seen that anywhere else. I was like, what is that, like a protest? Like, what? He said, he's like, you're not dancing. Like, you're on the floor, like, waiting. Like, I'm waiting for my song. I'm not in the corner. I'm on the dance floor. Right. Or maybe you just wanted a whole ass spot. Like, I didn't, you know, I would think I would ask a garage head, because you're not the only one that I've asked about this. I've asked Lewis Keys about this. I asked a couple of people, like, and I've heard different things. So I want to know your take on that. Like, why did people just sit down? Like, I've seen that, and I've never seen it anywhere else. And I think it's unique to just the garage.
Well, so the garage thing, first of all, well, let me answer that real quick, because the thing was, when you went to the garage, it was your home. It was like you were going home. You were going to your living room, and people took liberties in there, like, yo, this is my home. So one of the things was, I'm gonna go and chill out right here, all right? And I dare, and people be dancing around them. You be sitting there right there. And you'd be looking at them, and you're like, okay, whatever, they're good. And they were literally waiting for that song. And again, the reason, what they were really fixated on was to hear that song on that sound system, because they were not going to hear it like that anywhere else. There would be a song you hear on the radio, right? And then here it is. And we're not talking about underground songs. We're talking about just regular songs. Right? And they're going to come to the club and they're going to hear it on that system. And they're like, wow, I'm hearing things I've never heard before in the song. Okay. I'm feeling it, like songs that they're corny on the radio, but they're great on that sound system that Larry's playing it. And I'm like, I appreciate the song because I'm hearing it on that system. So that was one thing. Now, the other thing about comparing, like, clubs, so what people need to realize, the garage was open for 11 years, okay? Larry and oh my gosh, I forgot the sound guy, the engineer guy. They worked on that system every week to improve it, weekly. Just like when you go to the club, it was a different theme when you went to the club weekly. You know, it wasn't when you went, it wasn't the same time. When you went to the club this week, the next week it's gonna be a different club, it's gonna be different decor, it's gonna be different this, it's gonna be different that. And the same thing went for the sound. They worked on that every week. So the only person or club that comes close or who has that maniacal thing about that, believe it or not, is Shorty. Shorty's like that. Shorty SPS, he had analog. Shorty was literally in the club every day trying to improve the sound constantly, working on it, tweaking this, tweaking that, playing all types of music. You know, play a Pat Metheny song. Okay, I want to see how this sounds. Play Pump Up the Jam. Okay, I want to see how it sounds here. They would try different things. So that's the only thing that I've heard that has come close. But all the rest, because the garage, like I said, was open for 11 years and it was run by a staff of like, what was it, 90 people? The staff was 90 people that ran that were in the club. Think about that. 90 people, you know, staff of that club. The sound system was a byproduct of the fact that Michael Brody, the owner, put money and wanted it with Larry, that we were going to improve it every week. It would never be the same experience every time you went. The only thing that would be consistent would be the excellence that you would get.
Right. That's real nice.
Yeah.
About the excellence, people.
Right. You heard? Black joy all the time, every day.
All day.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Well, let's see now.
We
I had
have
a question.
already been, I was going to say, this time of night, we've already been booted off of some of our platforms. The rest is bonus for the bonus. But I do want you to have an opportunity to just tell folks what you're doing and what you got coming up.
Oh.
If there's anything that you're doing, we'd love for you to like share that also, because we want to make sure to give you a chance to do it.
Sure. So, on my end, so I have a couple of gigs coming up. I'm doing one Sunday at Now and Then. So, as you know, this is a really interesting time. And
I was just about to yell at you, and I was like, you know what? Let Kervyn
don't
live
you
life.
do it. Don't
Let
you
Kervyn
do
live
it.
his life, but stay out of them streets. Go on.
So I understand where Red is coming from, because about was it a week ago, Red, that I lit up Facebook by saying
it was a week ago.
Yeah, I lit up Facebook by saying anybody who dares to try to do indoor events doesn't care about you.
Thank you.
Doesn't care about you.
I can quote you.
Doesn't care about you, and I still stand by that. If you're gonna try to do an indoor event in this time right now, then that tells me that you don't care. I mean, just this weekend they busted 2 rave parties in Sunset Park. One venue had 400 and something people. The other one had 700 people, and they arrested like a whole bunch of people and stuff like that. So I'm doing the Now and Then thing, but it's not indoors. Strictly outdoors. So it's going to be in the street, and the other one is in the backyard. I would not have it any other way, because the way I tore into people, I and I live by that because of the work that I used to do, and I still do. I used to be a health inspector, so I don't play around with that. I don't play around with people's lives. So the condition was it has to be totally outdoors. There has to be social distancing, which they will have, and everybody has to wear a mask. I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear it. You just have to do that. So I have that on Sunday. That's from 2 to 8. It's a free event, and we're trying to keep it as low key as possible because we don't want.
Well, we just announced it on the internet.
I know. But what I've learned is that honestly, people are still gun shy about doing a lot. So I'm doing this. I don't expect a big crowd. Even though I announced it, I expect that there'll be a modicum of people. And if the capacity, because all we're looking for is 20 to 30 people. That's it. That's all I'm caring about. And once we get that, we're good. We're good. You know.
Okay.
So I have that. This Saturday, I will be playing with none other than Kevin Hedge on the Bang Up podcast.
Okay.
My set is from 4 to 6, so look out for that. And also I have another film. Sorry?
Sorry to interrupt, Kervyn. I have a guest in my chat here on Twitch that's asking if these events will be live streamed as well, or will they just be live?
Oh, great question. The one on Sunday, I don't think so. I'm doing one the 30th, the following week, and that's going to be House Hut. And as you know, House Hut, we do the live streaming. Yeah, right. We're going to live stream that one. Absolutely. That one I'll be doing with Jason Rios and DJ That Girl Curly.
Sweet.
So, yeah, that should be fun. So
on the 30th.
Yep.
So.
And then one more plug. So we have it up on platform. What you call it? Hands to the Sky. Who? Redness is in the film.
Another documentary. This one
another
is
documentary.
Outdoor events.
Yes. Which I'm really proud of this one.
Less controversial.
I'm really proud.
It's less controversial.
Yes, because I think it captured pretty much what's happening in the outdoor events.
They did a good job.
You know?
They did.
And it really was told by the public. The public told it much more than just, you know, the stars. It was really told by the regular, you know, the heads. The heads told the story. So Hands to the Sky is out on platform. People can see it for only $5.50.
Nice.
Like I said, look for Hands to the Sky. I forgot I forgot the platform that it's on. Forgive me, but just Google Hands to the Sky.
Different platform. I mean, just look up KERVYN Mark.
Yeah.
I mean, I can almost guarantee there's nobody else with his name on whatever social media, and you can see all of these things.
Right, and if you forgot the spelling, it's on the floor. Right. I'll say it like that. It's on the floor.
Hello. Well, thanks, Kervyn.
And one last thing. I'm sorry.
Go.
We have plans. There's a couple of us out here in East New York who have plans to start doing outdoor block party type events in East New York, because we feel that there has not been enough outreach to our communities in terms of our music. It's always like, oh, let's go to the gentrified areas and do the event.
Right.
We got to take it home. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the plan is. We're going to be doing that, especially out here in East New York.
I love that word. I love that.
Appreciate that.
I do.
Okay. So is that it, Kervyn? Are you sure? Is that all, or?
Well, can I tell one story real quick?
Wait. First of all,
you're going to tell another story.
You can tell another story. You can tell another story. Caleaf, just quickly tell us what you got going on, or if there's anything we should be looking for.
Sure, no problem. In regards to spinning, I'm spinning Saturday at Washington Square Park with my boy David Story. Kind of a free thing that they do right by the
fountain.
The fountain.
Yes.
Fountain right near the Arc. So that's going to be going down from 6 to 10.
Okay.
And yeah, we're going to probably go back and forth. And right now I have a house single out called Color of My Soul. And that's on Catch the Ghost Records. That's me and my boy Koflo. So you
Koflo the Soul Shifter.
You can find it on any other streaming platforms. And I also have a EP that I just dropped, and I just finished shooting a video on Saturday for a hip hop single that's called Moroccan Hash, and it's off of my EP, which is called First Wave, and that's me and my boy DJ Sparta from Italy. We just finished that, and again, it's on every streaming platform. You can find it. You just put Big Leaf, and you'll find me. Or
Big Leaf.
www.catchtheghostrecords.com. And yeah, you can check us out. We got good music. There's a lot of good music. We're trying to contribute, just like my brother here. We're trying to add on and give back to the community, and you know, and yeah, that's what I have going on right now.
I have 2 questions, and then Kervyn, we're coming back to you for your story.
I got questions too. Damn these people.
Number 1, Big Leaf, Caleaf. My first question for you is personal. What's up with that? What's the name of the song? Moroccan
Hash.
I Want It. Do you have it?
What's up with that?
Yeah.
I want it.
I want it. We'll talk about that after this, but I just want to throw it out there, and I don't mind the world to know I want it. Number 2, so the gatherings that are happening in the park and stuff like that, are they, I hate to ask this question, but I'm curious, are they doing licenses, or you guys just show up and do what you do?
Well, actually, thanks to the BLM movement.
Okay. Oh,
look at it.
Love us right now. They love us.
Catch it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They let a lot of things slide. They're a bit more lenient than they were, prior to this whole pandemic taking place. Okay. So they're allowing people to do certain things. So basically what David did is he went and spoke to certain people in the community and asked them if it was okay for him, because most of the time people would just bring a speaker out, small speaker. We're not talking about anything big, and just play their music or have a box and do their thing. But they actually allowed him to bring out a system, not a big system,
but a generator.
And you can play from, like, they said from 6 to 10, we're good with that. We'll allow you to. So, I mean, you also got St. James Joy that was going on, and they kind of they stopped, and they would go for an hour. They would give you like an hour of like from 7 to 8.
Right.
Bam! And at first it was like 30 people, just like he said. It was like 30 people. And then 30 people turned into 100 people. And then people were just trying to find their way to, like, kind of distance. You kind of, the way that works is you kind of stay with the people you came with. You don't kind of like venture off and walk around with other folks. You kind of like stay with the people you came with. And that's the reason why that was working. So this is the, it's kind of the spinoff. And I've been to a lot of different spinoffs in a lot of different places where people are doing their thing.
I would say also that, like, with the whole permitting thing, right? That's not happening. They're not giving permits right now. But I do say that my experience has been that, especially with house music, right? Our energy is a beautiful, loving energy, right?
Yeah, wonderful.
And it's a peaceful energy, right? So they don't typically fuck with us.
No.
They be like, they're over there dancing, having a good time, being safe, being separate. Leave them alone. We got other shit to do.
Right.
And that's not even something that we would have experienced, like Caleaf said, prior to this whole madness, right? But I'm thankful that in this madness that we're able to have at least that semblance of, like, humanity, to say it, in a simple way, like,
and most of them get on the mic.
Rock, okay, they're fine, they're being nice, they're being separate, they're being safe, they're listening to music, they're dancing, they're smiling, they're keeping peace.
They're wearing their mask.
They're not wilding.
It's difficult to dance with the mask on. It's difficult. Sometimes you have to come out.
Yeah.
And go back in. We're doing it. We're making it happen. You're always gonna have a couple of people who's like, I don't believe in it. You're always gonna have those people.
Always that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's not even do that right now.
But that's the truth. There's always that. There's people that are just gonna be like, I don't care. I don't believe in that. Whatever.
They stay over there.
Okay. Over there.
But it makes me think of just how clubs feel about us. It's the same kind of feeling. We love that party. We like those people. This has nothing to do with race. That music is good. They're peaceful. They all know each other. So there's really a smaller chance of anything breaking out of them. You know what I mean? And at any point, even when we've had issue in a club, we usually solve our own issues because we all know each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's not a thing, you know, security in most places, they love us. They're like, we want your party.
Out in the party.
So nothing changes as far as that. Nothing.
Well, we all do parties, but we know what the deal is with the club. It's always about the bar.
Of course, we already know.
Buy drinks at the bar, you got a party. You don't buy drinks at the bar, you don't have nothing.
Because that's it. We wanted you. We wanted you here. Kervyn Mark.
Yes.
You got a story to tell. Give it.
Okay, so it's about 1988. Woo. So I had a friend. I have a friend. He's like a lifelong friend. His name is Pierre. Pierre's a dope dancer. Dope dancer. Real dope. Used to be my partner in the garage, hang out the whole nine. So one day he's like, I used to be making tapes. I used to be making all my mixtapes, giving it to my friends. And Pierre was one of my friends that would get my mixtapes. So he was like, yo, Kervyn, there's this woman who's looking for a DJ. And, you know, we need to go meet her. And, you know, apparently she heard your tape and she would like to meet you. So we get on the train and we get off at 23rd Street. And then we go to the Chelsea Hotel, right?
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
So we go in a Chelsea Hotel. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So I go in there, you're seeing who's ever in the Chelsea Hotel.
Right.
And then we go, and then I meet this person, right?
This woman.
So the first thing is she had an accent, and I'm like, okay, my name is Kervyn. Oh, Kervyn is brilliant. I'm glad to meet you, Kervyn. Oh my God, I'm so happy to meet you. Wonderful. Oh my God. I heard your tape and it's brilliant. Please sit down. Let's talk. So we're talking and I don't even know who she is. Okay. And she's like, Kervyn, so listen to this. We're going to be doing this party here on this block. We have this club down the block here, Savage. And
wow.
You're going to be my DJ, okay? You're going to be my DJ. And Michael Musto, do you know who Michael Musto is? And I'm like, yeah. I read him in his voice. Well, he's going to be there. A whole bunch of people are going to come to this party. It's going to be a great party. I'm going to be doing this every week. I need you to be brilliant, Kervyn. Just like you on this tape, I need you to play brilliantly. So I'm like, okay, no problem. You know, so I go, opening night, it was on a Thursday night. Never forget, Thursday night, I go in the booth, I get to the club, and of course everybody knows what Savage looked like. They had a little thing in the middle of the floor. The dance floor wasn't really a dance floor, it was weird. And then I get in the booth and it was a closed booth. So I go in the booth, and this is going to be my first residency, by the way. I never had a residency before. This is going to be my first. So I'm setting up, feeling my way, and the resident DJ at the club, he's like being really, really helpful, really cool, right? And he's showing me different things and whatnot. That was Don Welch. Okay? That was the first time I met Don Welch. So Don is like, he's showing me how to do this, how to do that. And in about an hour, the place gets packed. And so let me tell you who comes. So Madonna is there. Whoa. Okay. Madonna comes with her entourage. David Brenner was there. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was like a who's who. And I'm just like starstruck. I got, wait, y'all really playing for these people? You know? and they're coming up to the booth and they're asking me like, "Oh, what is that song? Or what is this song?" I met Madonna, who she was nice. She was actually pretty cool. She was all right. And she was like, "Oh, you got to play for me." That never happened. She promised me the world and shit, but that never happened. But that gig, that gig got me naturally a whole bunch of other gigs and other residencies. But it was that woman, by the way, is Suzanne Barsh.
I knew it because I saw the documentary, so I
Yeah.
know where she lived.
Yes, that is Suzanne Barsh. And Suzanne, I was, and this is no lie, I was Suzanne Barsh's first resident DJ here in New York.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that is something.
Yeah,
That really,
that is something.
you know.
I would pay for that now, but back then it was huge. It was like, she, I didn't know who she was, and as I'm asking questions, and people are like, yeah, that's Suzanne. I mean, Kenny was working at the door.
Kenny was at that door. I wasn't there, but I saw the documentary. Did you guys, if you guys have not seen on Netflix, Suzanne Barsh on Top, that's the name of the documentary.
Yes.
I have seen it.
I've met her. She's not a friend. No shade.
No,
she's
nice.
over there doing what she's doing. But the documentary was really interesting, and it was it was good. It was good because there was a lot of people that we know. There were a lot of people, and just showing how we're in the parallel world. Meaning this was all happening at the same time of all the stuff that you guys are talking about with Larry and this and Shelter and that was all happening just parallel world, same time.
It was really, Red. It's really interesting you bring that up because that is absolutely true. Because, okay, the garage was closed by then when I was doing the Savage thing. But what was interesting is, you had Sound Factory, which had basically taken over from the garage, and they had their thing, and then you had, like you said, you had Her World, which was their thing, and every so often they would cross paths.
And when it crossed, I thought it was awesome, and I was like, I want all of it.
So like, Junior would be doing his thing, and with Christina Visca, and then they would cross paths with Suzanne Barsh and her thing, and then the Choice was doing their thing, Wild Pitch was doing their thing, and everybody would just be all these different, Snob Busters were doing their thing.
Snob Busters. That was one of my first house music parties, like my real.
Snob Busters. Wild, what's the other one? House Nation. All of that. All of that was happening. The Space was happening. All that was happening.
The Space was literally a place you could go practice.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, the Space, Nick Jones and those guys. So all of that was like happening during that time. I think because everybody was like, the garage is closed. They were really bummed out. There were promises that the garage was gonna open in the form of the Paradise Ballroom, which only lasted for like a month.
And you can't forget Baseline and Love Light.
And there was Thank you, Baseline and Love, yes, and of course Love Light, without question. That's where Morales really blew up. So all of that, people were really, really like looking for that next thing, and it would come in spurts, but unfortunately, they just didn't last. They didn't have the longevity. They just would last for like 2-3 years and be gone. Yeah. Sad.
That's a great fun fact, Kervyn. I like that story. Yeah. Really.
I have a question for you, Caleaf, unless you had something, Red.
No, because my final question is personal, and it's going to go back to something we spoke of earlier.
Okay, well, I have 2 questions actually in the chat, one for each of you. I'll go with Caleaf first. Caleaf, can you talk about the process of taking house dance from the clubs to the stage and studio, trying to get all the answers? That's what the question was.
As my friend Dill would say, do the work.
That's be polite. So we know.
Oh, fine. He gets to get answers.
Okay.
He deserves answers.
All right. Basically, I don't know. I think we got lucky. I know that Rosie Perez, she was scouting for a Dinah Ross video, working overtime, and she went up to Link and she asked him, she was like, "Do you want to be in a video?" And he was like, "Yeah." And so she was like, "I want you and your friends." So she pointed to all of us. "I want you guys to come down to the audition." And that's really how it happened for me and the rest of us. That's how we got into it, because thank God we met Rosie, and Rosie kind of opened a lot of doors. And then later on, Diane Martell is another one that opened a lot of doors for us, because she felt like we were talented, but we kind of didn't know what to do with our talent. Like, we're just like moving around. They call us grasshoppers. So we're just like hopping around, jumping around to the music and not really having any direction, and people not really having an idea of like, okay, like I want to take this to the stage. Yeah, of course, if someone says to you, you want to do it, then you'll take the opportunity to try to go and do it, you know, because the opportunity is presented to you. But I wanted to be in the NFL. My goal was, this wasn't my dream, you know, and sometimes you have your dream and then you have the path you're supposed to take. And this was the path I was supposed to take.
You're
so it
chose me. Kind of athlete.
Right. I didn't choose it. It chose me. And so in regards to taking it to the stage, it was just natural, because when they said action and they played the music, I'm like, I'm going to get down. You know, and then Rosie kind of like gave us some tips. She was like, if you ever go to audition, there ain't no second chances. So I only had to hear that once. I'm like, damn, that's kind of like if I'm trying to fight for a position on the field, the coach is only going to give you one shot.
Right.
You drop, I'll play receiver, you drop the ball, you're going to sit down. You catch the ball, you're going to be out there. So basically, that's basically how it happened for us, you know. And the funny thing about that, if I may add on, I got to mention my sister Marge. You know, she's here, she's sitting with me. She's like, tell him about it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to tell him about it. The only reason why I made it upstairs to the audition, because my kryptonite is elevators. Every superhero has kryptonite. My kryptonite is elevators. Everyone walked through the lobby and went right onto the elevator, and they were like talking and completely forgot about me. The doors went, and they went upstairs, and I'm standing there like, shit. I gotta fight this. Like, I wanna do this. Like, they're probably gonna be in a video. So I'm pacing back and forth. And then when I turn around and I look at the elevator, the door's open and Marjorie's standing there. And she's like, wow, come here. And she just put her hand out like this, like, come here. And I put my hand in hers and she pulled me inside the elevator. She said, don't worry, it's going to be all right. I'm here with you. Something happens, I'm here with you. Don't worry about it. We're going to get upstairs. And as soon as the doors open, I jumped out. When Rosie played the music, I could not stop dancing. So Rosie, after the audition finished, she was like, I want you, and you. And yeah, you in the back, the tall guy, you too. Changed my life. Changed my life. And I always told Marge, like, that moment, that was a big moment. You know, you saved me. She was like, I got you. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's just that now, like, I'm 51. So now it's a whole nother level, right? So now I'm a teacher, people calling me a legend and all these things. And I'm only doing something that I love to do. So I'm only sharing with them my experiences from the club, which happens every single time I hit play. I'm able to go back in time. Like, there's a time machine. As soon as I hit the play button, I go back. It's 88. It's, you know what I mean? It's 90.
Like,
you know what I mean? We're like, break. For love. You know what I mean? You feeling all that feeling. You know, I remember when move, jump, jack, your body, stomp. Like when hip house was a big deal.
I feel like right now, if it takes a person longer than the notes you just gave to name that tune, I just want you to just move over. Just move
Get
over.
out of here. But yeah, that was really it, you know, and it's just crazy now when I look back on it, because now a lot of us are like, we've become philosophers, teachers, masters. So we have so many different ways to articulate our experiences.
And icons. You guys are icons.
Absolutely.
But sometimes I'm like, yo, just give it to them straight. They're like, yo, why did you guys go to clubs? How did you create that step? I was like, man, we went to the clubs for the girls. Let's be clear. If the ladies was there, we was there. And I said, they didn't even charge the ladies to get in. The ladies were free before a certain time. Now they're saying everybody free. What the hell is that? The dudes was on the line around the corner. The ladies was walking right in and had to
like, hey, see you inside.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey. I'm cute, hey.
So these are the things I miss about the scene, but at the same time, I respect what we have now, because like all of you, I do parties as well, so I know how it is. Sometimes it can be really good. You're like, wow, we doing good tonight. Yeah, we doing good. We doing good. Sometimes you're like, what's happening, Oz?
Sometimes you use all your drink tickets for yourself and stand by the door like, what's happening right now?
Flyer? Didn't you knock on everyone's door? Yeah, I knocked on everyone's door. No one's home tonight. So.
Yeah.
That's house.
That is.
That's house.
C'est la vie. C'est la vie, as a friend say. Such is life.
So the question for Kervyn was, can you talk about the House Coalition and protesting the cabaret laws?
Woo! Okay. Oh, wow. I love telling this story because it goes to show that the House Coalition is truly a coalition. That's why I love telling this story. So, story goes like this. Of course, you know, I was doing Melting Pot. For the people out there, I used to do this collective, and we called ourselves Melting Pot. And I had a partner, Rena Mercado, and myself. We were the heads of the Melting Pot, and we ran something like 15 people deep. One day, we used to do parties over in first at the New York Poets Cafe, and then after a while, the cafe, because of noise issues, we had to move our party to a socialist school called the Brecht Forum on the West Side Highway. So one day, Rena and one of the members, Margot Silvera, they ran into this online advertisement about the dance parade, that there was going to be this parade that was going to materialize. And the concept behind the parade was, one, to show that dance is an art form and a culture that needs to be respected, okay? And that the cabaret laws are an affront to that, and that they need to be eliminated, okay? So Rena and Margot were like, well, you know what, Melting Pot should partake in this. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, yeah, we should do it. So we need to get a float. And I'm like, well, yeah, okay, we'll get a float. How much is it? Oh, it's gonna be $5,000. I'm like, oh, okay, you'll be all right. We ain't doing that. But I then was like, but you know what? I said, if it's gonna be what we say it's gonna be, then we honestly need to call up all the groups. We need to call up everybody, have a sit down, talk, and see how we can have a proper representation of our scene at this parade. So we had the meeting, and there were groups like, of course, Ali Coleman group. Well, Ali then was, I forgot what was the name of his group back then. So Ali was there, Conrad Neblet, Together in Spirit, Santiago. What was Santiago? Santiago and Sabine's group. Brooklyn Mecca showed up. There were quite a few groups who showed up. So we're just like hashing this out, trying to work out our differences, because there's only natural, people doing their own thing. And we all agree that, you know what, we have to make this work. So we were like, we can't afford, even though we were all coming together, we cannot afford no $5,000 for no float. So being somebody of Caribbean background and who used to party on Labor Day on Eastern Parkway, I said, you know what? Wait a minute. I'm going to get me a truck. I'm going to go get one of those trucks that they use on Eastern Parkway, get all the speakers, and we're going to do it like that. So I went to this hand yard here in East New York, and there was a Trinidadian gentleman. And okay, so what was weird about this guy? This guy, he's black, right? And he's from Trinidad, but he was an Elvis impersonator. Elvis impersonator, and a James Brown, and a James Brown impersonator who would be doing shows all over.
Like polar opposites.
What a combination!
Oh, crazy!
Yeah, pomade and.
I just walked into his yard and he's telling me all these things about him. And I said, look, can I just get this truck? And he said, you know what? I'm going to do you a favor. I'll get you the truck. I'll get you the sound system. It's going to cost you $1,500. I was like, okay, we can live with that. That's cool. And all you got to do is just decorate it and stuff like that. So of course, we had Loft Kid. Okay. And Loft Kid was the person that we felt should be designated to deal with the house, with the dance parade people. So we had him in there, and
he's a guest next week on Bedtime Stories. Okay, I'm done.
Oh yeah, good. Good. And
he can verify that you're telling us the truth.
That's right.
Oh, he cannot dispute anything I say. And actually,
I remember this.
Okay. And actually, the House Coalition name came about, I believe it was in the second or third meeting.
I think it was. Okay, wait. But you go on. This is your story.
Yeah, because we were at the table and we were discussing what we should call ourselves. And we're coming up with all kind of crazy names. I think it might have been Conrad. No, I don't think it was Conrad. That don't sound like Conrad. I forgot who came up with House Coalition. It would not be Conrad. It might have been Santiago. But Santiago was really, really into it, And we came up with the whole thing, House Coalition. We had bylaws, the whole thing. And we showed up at the parade. We had the trucks. We had the truck. We had Loft Kid directed all the balloons and everything for the truck and stuff like that. The DJs, Sabine played. I played, and Jeannie Hopper. It was the three of us, right? It was us three who played, if I'm correct. And it was a rainy day. You remember that? It rained a lot that day. And it ended up at Washington Square Park.
Right. I remember that too.
That's where it ended. And this is the one thing that a lot of people don't know. So the song that Mia Tutavia sings, the Dennis Ferrer song.
Touch the Sky.
Touch the Sky. Thank you. That was the first time. Yeah, you're on point. That's the first time she ever performed that song live. Because she had given me the test pressing, and I was like, "Yo, Mia, would you mind performing that?" And she was nervous because nobody knew that Mia was the one who sang the song.
Right.
You know, they were like, who did, you know? So Mia came, and we were on Fifth Avenue, about to enter the park. We stopped, and she sang "Touch the Sky," and then at the park, and you know what's so interesting about that time? They really, you know, Dance Parade really didn't respect us. They didn't understand us.
They had to learn. They had to learn.
Yeah.
In the best way that I could say that.
Street dance, the same way every other.
Exactly.
They had to learn. They welcomed us, but they didn't really know. And once they realized, now we're at the top of their whatever they do, because they recognize and realize.
Because what I specifically remember was that Afro Mosaic Soul was prepared to do a show at the stage.
At the after party.
They were trying to like not have it. They were like, oh, you know, we're all about the whirling dervishes and whatever. Anything but street dances. And they finally let them get on, and they tore it up. They were great. You know, I mean, Be Polite, they tore it up. And from that time on, you know, House Coalition has, and I really have to, you know, congratulate, particularly Larkin and Ali, because they're the ones who've been a constant all this time. I was involved in it for a while, for like 7 years. Yeah, almost 7 years. But they kept it going. And, you know, look where we're at right now. The cabaret law has been abolished. Like you say, we're a mainstay in it. They understand that the street form is it.
Right.
Okay, and when you do the dance parade, you think of us more than any other group out there. They can say whatever they want, but they think about us.
They do think about us, and I can just elaborate on that. This year actually, in all of this madness that's going on, they did a virtual dance parade.
Yes, they did.
And I was brought in by Ali.
Right.
Because I had done dance contests before this, I was brought in to host. They did a dance contest. And so I learned so much in working with them as far as the digital and what's going on and how these things are working right now, but also,
which is why we're so thankful to them for this stream.
Yeah. And but just the realization of how much respect they did have for us. Like at this point, Ali and Lewis are at the top of their list to go to.
Yes.
And that was awesome. So me being brought in under those people, it was really good. It was really, really interesting, really welcoming, really like, now at this point they get it. You know what I mean? They get it. So I understand all of that. So thank you for that, Kervyn. That was great.
That was great.
Ali, that was great.
That was.
I mean, I would like to be involved more, but you know, it is what it is right now.
Well, send me a message on the side. I've got some cool at this point. I got some things going down. But so this is going to sound really random and probably really strange right now, but I never forgot what we were speaking about earlier, and it matters to me.
Yes.
About 3 years ago, I said to my sister, Vicky, you know what I wish my birthday was coming. And on that, just shameless plug, my birthday is Thursday, guys. I'm going to be
August 21st.
I'm going to be 50 on Thursday, and my virtual birthday party is on Friday with Ali Coleman and some other friends. So
cool.
If you are free, please come to Redness parties. If you're here now, then you know where to find us. And Redness parties on Twitch as well. It's going to be a full day of fun. But I say all that to say, my sister, I told her, you know what I wish I had? I wish I had Chinese slippers. Just to remind you all of what we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
And she was out somewhere and she randomly came across a pair of Chinese slippers, and I kid you not, when she was like, they had one pair and it was your size. So she got them for me, and that was my birthday party that year. This year, I'm turning 50. I said yesterday, you know what I got to do? I got to clean my house. Like I got to do my floors. I got to start my new year off right. And I did all of those things in my Chinese slippers because those are my shoes of choice in the house. They've got a bottom. I can dance. I can also feel comfortable if I'm mopping the floor and my feet are not wet. And I looked at my slippers yesterday and I was like, I wonder if I could put these in the washing machine, but I don't want them to fall apart. I love them. And I say all of that to say, so what do you guys think? Can I put them in the washing machine?
I would say no. I would say no. I would say wash the bitch by hand. Wash them by hand. Wash them by hand.
I want the three of you to expect my photos of me in the shower with my feet next to my Chinese slippers because they're getting washed. Thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Look, I remember wearing Chinese slippers and the buckle breaking and me having a safety pin there. Them Chinese slippers are not made to last long, okay?
No, that's why I won't wear them in the street. I'm too nervous to wear them
in the washing machine.
I remember trying to run after somebody and they made a sharp turn to the right. And I just kept going, like, the leg turned, and then my feet was just like in the air, like, and I hit the ground, like, and I was like, maybe running, these are not shoes for running.
No, they're not, but
slippers
stay in the house and wear them like slippers.
Chinese slippers were my first Mary Jane. Stop playing.
She got me the ones with the red bottoms, like real Chinese slippers.
Yeah, the brownish plastic.
So,
That's it.
All right, well, I just needed to know that. Thanks.
Someone in my chat said, use a toothbrush.
No, these are not Adidas. But I will put them in the shower. I'm not worried about them getting wet. They'll dry.
They'll dry.
Yeah. Just don't. Can't do this with that.
No.
And then the dye might come out too. You're like, oh, they were black, but what color?
No,
what color are
they
they?
better not have dye.
Are they black or like are they red?
They're black. They're black. They're Chinese.
Okay. Black.
They have them in different kinds. They have the satin ones.
Okay, they're traditional Chinese slippers. They're black with rust bottoms.
If I had a pair of jellies, I would send it to you. A pair of
I got jellies the other day.
Oh my God.
I'm like, happy birthday, Brad.
I swear my boy had on jellies the other day and everybody was like, oh, you better work those jellies. But he was smart because he had on knee-high stockings.
That's what you do because you're not going to scratch up my feet.
Black lines on your feet. Them jellies.
Giving you slices. No.
Jellies and joints. You have a pair of joints, jellies, and then the kung fu shoes. Those are like the karate shoes. Yes. Those were the shoes of choice back in the day. My mom would go to Pickens Avenue. I got you a pair of jellies here. Let's go.
You know what I say?
You love your mom voice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. This has been awesome.
Love you.
This has been really fun and awesome. And thank you so much.
I wanted to, before we go, I did want to mention Voodoo Ray.
Voodoo Ray also.
Yeah, I get emotional when I think about that guy. It's like,
you're not alone in that.
You know what I'm saying? It's like he was just special, man. Special. And I mean, for me, he was like everything I hoped for. For the short time that we were doing things together, everything that I do now, I always harken back to him, you know, because he was, again, always full of hope and energy and always backing you and like, yo, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. So I really, really miss him. Just the other day on my show, I had found the footage of him dancing at the Choice and I played it. And
Send it to me. Oh, send me a link, brother.
yeah, yo, he was bad. Oh boy, he was bad. He was all that. But he was just so genuine and special, you know. And I really miss him. I miss him a whole lot. That's it.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're saying that, I can hear his voice right now.
I can hear him laughing.
Okay.
So the other day, Allegra was reminding me. She was like, "Do you remember every time would be like Ray would be like, "You're tired? You like Thai food? You want Thai food? You're tired? You like Thai food?"
Oh, Ray was gifted. Ray made everybody around him feel like they, and I'm gonna say it just like that. He made people around him feel like they mattered.
Yes.
Whether or not, and not that nobody matters, but whether or not they did at that moment, he made you feel like you did, and that.
But it was
skill.
genuine.
That's a skill.
That's just who he was.
That's a skill, and that's a skill, and also a beautiful thing about him, and just the way that he was so natural at his talent. You know, just naturally. I'm gonna grab the mic, and I'm gonna you because I've tried myself, and I'll never compare myself to Voodoo, but just grabbing a mic and talking. And I'm sure you've all had that same experience. It's not that easy. It doesn't just go like that. He was skilled and blessed in just, I don't have to think about what I'm about to say. I'm saying what, and it was awesome. So that was a wonderful thing. Yeah. So big sigh.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
This
on that note,
nice and really special, and it's so lovely to catch up with you two. Honestly,
thank you.
Like, this has been really special. We've gone almost 2 hours.
Yeah, don't ever let anybody tell you you're not legendary motherfuckers, because you are.
Thank you.
Do this.
Yeah.
Hey.
You heard? Receipt.
I don't know about that, Sid. I'm not doing that.
That means yes, you are legendary.
I'm just gonna give you a salute from here.
I'm not even gonna comment on what I think could have happened right now.
Yeah, right. I saw where it was going, and it was an accident. She didn't want that to happen either, but I saw the arm.
Not on screen.
So the arm was moving, and it could have just easily went wrong. All wrong.
You're a hot mess. Oh my God, I love you.
Thanks, guys, so much.
No, thank you for giving us this time. It's awesome.
I know.
You know?
Yeah. Time to sign off. This has been Bedtime Stories. Check it out on YouTube.
Go to bed.
It's Redness, Sin Rose and Redness's Bedtime Stories on YouTube. Please check out the archives if you missed it. Tell a friend.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Peace.
And I'm gonna.
We are.
Wait, and we're gonna stop our recording and talk more shit that y'all can hear about. And good night.